go through the web, yeah.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
it's
yeah.
such a huge dive down, and you're like,
And Link is like,
"Fuck."
hey, yeah! And you're like, oh my god. And he's like, yeah! Hello, my name is Keith, and I'm joined by my magnificent co-host Nisha. Welcome to the third episode of Press Any Button to Continue. Once again, we're here to take a deep dive into the nooks and crannies of our most nostalgic gaming memories, continuing our exploration and rediscovery of our love of retro gaming and its ties with nostalgia. On today's episode, we got a bit of a special game to talk about. It's a game that maybe needs no introduction, but we're going to give it one anyway because we got to fill up time. We are going to be talking today about The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, regarded as one of the greatest and best video games of all time. So I'm looking forward to getting on into it. What is our kind of, before even any questions, what do you think of straight away when you think about The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time?
Me? Are you?
Jeez, who the hell's that am I asking?
I didn't know if you were talking to me or the listener there. Fuck's sake.
Fucking asleep at the wheel there, mate.
Oh, fucking hell.
Nisha was checking out his hair.
I was getting into the intro, man. I was digging that intro. I was like, yeah, this is good. Shit, I'm there. What do I think
it.
of?
This is perfect for it. Yeah, what do you kind of think when you first think of,
Ocarina
of Time?
When anyone mentions Zelda, like the Legend of Zelda at all, I immediately go, my brain immediately goes to Ocarina of Time. That's kind of where it started for me, and that's my favorite game. It's my favorite game of all time. So I kind of immediately go there. When I think of the game itself, what do I think of? Lon Lon Ranch.
Lon Lon Ranch.
I don't know why.
Oh my god, what was the name of the one on Lon Lon Ranch?
Epona and
not the horse. I was going to say I had a crush on the one when I was a kid who was in Lon Lon Ranch.
Oh yeah.
Ginger-haired one.
Yeah, ginger-haired.
Oh my god.
The one who looked like Mario. There was Malin is the girl. Yeah, Malin.
Malin, yeah. So when I was younger, Malin was like, oh damn, It's like, are you 8? Am I 8? and then she grows up, which is
it's the fiery red hair, man. It's the fiery red hair. And then there's Talon and Ingo. Talon's like the Mario looking dude. I think it's their dad, is it?
Yeah, I don't know. There's some weird relationship going on there with Mario,
Ingo,
Luigi, and
like,
Malin.
the kind of like to represent Luigi, but to me feels more like Waluigi. But maybe that was way before Waluigi was even a thing, is it?
Yeah, I don't know. I think Waluigi came around like in like a Mario tennis game. I feel like it was like his first introduction or a Mario Party game. I think it was before it though, for sure.
All right, that's the kind of vibe that I'm getting off him anyway. But that's when I don't know why my brain's going there, because maybe it's I'm kind of just picturing the kind of opening scene. I don't know. What do you think of when you? So I'm gonna just hit you with Ocarina of Time.
Yeah.
What's your brain clicking with?
I don't know, like instantly being 8 years old, instantly going to like my friend's birthday and seeing it for the first time, like because I saw it through someone else when they were there. So like he had a Nintendo 64 and he got it for his birthday.
Nice.
And so I was kind of watching it and I was like, what is this? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I remember thinking of Peter Pan. Because you're seeing like the character, the green. Yeah. So like when I was looking at that, I was like, what the fuck are you playing? I don't know. It just really has that super like nostalgic. Like for me, the music is obviously huge.
Yeah.
Like as in that soundtrack is like seared into my brain, and I know it kind of like repeats in other Zelda games, but so much so that enough of hearing one of those songs is enough to evoke emotion in me. Do you know what I mean?
Totally, yeah, totally.
Because like it brings you straight back into that like time and place.
Yeah.
So I think it's kind of like the sense of adventure, the music, the kind of orchestra. The first time going into Hyrule Fields kind of pops into my mind.
I can remember the first time. Like I can literally remember sitting down and playing it, and the first time I walked out after you have the conversation with the owl, and then you're let loose into this field, and I was like, whoa. I can remember how mind blown it was for me back then. I was totally like in awe of how big this game was and how amazing it looked. It's just like what a cool kind of is it considered a hub world? Would
I
Hyrule
mean,
be a hub
technically
world?
it is, but like, I mean, in reality, in your imagination, it's an open world game. Like for me, it
Yeah.
was always an open world game. I know
Oh
it's
yeah.
technically not because it's divided by, area to area, but like the
Mm.
adventure feels expansive. So
Oh,
like,
totally. Yeah.
that absolute like, oh my God, it's a big empty field, but I love it,
There actually isn't a lot
Yeah,
in
no,
the
there's fuck
field, is
all in
there?
it. There's fuck all in the field, but that doesn't matter because you're like, it's a big field and it's all
Yeah.
I wanted and it's green.
And
The
there's those
funny thing,
big flying pineapple things that try and chop
so
you up.
see,
What are they?
the thing about Zelda games as well is like, you've played this game so many times and you're still like,
Yeah.
why is there a flying pineapple with razor blades coming to get
Yeah,
me?
what
Do you know
is
what I
it
mean?
though? Fucking hell.
I don't know. The thing about
Oh.
Hyrule Field for me is that's also the second I turned off the game because
What?
all right, so hear me out, right? So I got the game secondhand, put in the cartridge. This is another fucking like someone else had an account. I didn't know what to do with it. Do you know what I mean? So I was in Hyrule Field and I was like, cool. Then I got nighttime and I was like, okay. And then the skeletons came out of the ground and I was like,
Yeah.
nope. I was like,
Are you
turn that
serious?
off. I am. I was
What?
scared of it, man. And, like
All right.
I was only a baba. I was like,
It,
fuck these skeletons and the weird music and shit.
it is.
Um,
It's actually like there's certain parts of this game that are fucking terrifying. Like you think you go down, when you go down like the well in
oh my god,
Kakariko
those
Village,
fucking like.
the
I
fucking zombie things that
And they
scream,
go,
and it's like
and you
it's
get, and
like
you get,
having sleep paralysis while you're
yeah,
while you're awake, and you freeze,
yeah.
and they come closer.
That game was just preparing you for being like a 34-year-old in your bed having sleep paralysis, stress demons on top of your chest. It was like
Fucking hell! And
that
then
was
remember the
traumatizing though. Yeah,
oh fucking hell! And it is the Shadow Temple, is it? I'm not sure, but
yeah.
there's remember the like the hands the white
I
hands,
do.
yeah,
They come
and
down and grab you,
no,
or
there's
the
one,
boss,
yeah,
the
the
yeah,
really
yeah.
weird looking boss. It's like
It was like the
just
master hand from Smash
freaky.
Bros. Kind of
Yeah,
coming into play with it.
so there were certain parts of that game were so freaky. Even some of the I was playing it there last night in the Forest Temple. Do you remember even the Forest Temple, which it
The
shouldn't
wolves and
be?
stuff.
Yeah, but it's so dark and so ominous, and the music and the
Mm.
atmosphere. It's
But it
real
does create
spooky.
such a great atmosphere, and
Oh,
it's like.
totally, yeah.
But you know what I was thinking as well? That scared the scariest creature in the game. Maybe this is what you're talking about. I'm thinking of something else.
Yeah.
I don't know what it was. It was like this. The graphics for N64 are really in that like reflective. Oh my god! It had all the hands coming out of it. Is that what you were talking about? Or are you talking about the boss with the two giant hands?
I'm talking
Because
no, not the giant hands. No, not the giant hands. This is like a
oh
white
yeah.
ghost
Sorry,
apparition thing,
it's like a
and he's like,
tampon with hands coming out of it or
yeah,
something. It's a really
and
weird
has a
fucking
real
thing.
like mad crooked neck and
Oh yeah, I hated that.
fucking so freaky.
Because the thing for me, right, is like in terms of the history of me playing that game, right? So
Yeah.
I tried to play it when I was younger. I never finished it. So like
All right.
I got to a certain point with it. But
Yeah.
then my friend was playing it all the time and it took him 7 years to finish it, right?
You serious? Yeah.
7 years to finish it, that's the
Oh,
amount of time it took him. And I was there when he finished it. And we were
deadly.
both just like, because there was such a I don't know, maybe we were like, I'd say we were 15 maybe when he finished and we started when we were like 7 or 8.
That's
So it's like,
crazy.
can you imagine a game that you play over that amount of time that has
Yeah.
that much of an impact because it was stretched over so much? He might have left it go for 6 months at a time,
Mm.
come back to it. And then when you finish it and like, the music and the credits, because that's such a great ending sequence in that game.
Yeah, it is.
We were both on the couch nearly crying because I don't know what it was. We had like a moment of like, we're not kids anymore. It was almost
yeah.
like, it was almost like waving that behind by finishing
Yeah.
it.
Oh,
And it wasn't
yeah.
until recently that I actually finished it properly on stream.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so that was your first full playthrough, was it?
Yeah.
Oh,
That's
nice.
my first
Yeah.
full playthrough.
So what after? So you only played it recently within the last couple of years for the first time yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
And what do
I
you
played it
think?
again, like I think a year ago I played it again.
So what do you think? So you're not wearing nostalgia goggles with this, or are you?
Yeah.
Or
No,
are
no.
you?
Okay, from the art, from the story, from the music, I do. From the
Right.
gameplay, I don't.
Right.
So like,
Okay.
the Z targeting can drive me up the fucking walls. I'm like, lock on, you stupid prick! And Link's like looking down. He's like looking at his crotch with the shield over his head, and I'm like,
Yeah.
why are you doing this? So yeah, like I think replaying it, like, it still plays really, really well. I still think it plays really well. I think that game still nails the atmosphere. It nails the sense of discovery. There's
Right.
so much side stuff you can do. Like when I played it, so I played it a few years ago and then I played it again recently. At the time I
Mm,
played it recently, I just kind of gunned it a little
yeah.
bit.
Okay.
But the first time, I went and got the big Goron sword. Is it the big Goron sword? Is that the
Yeah.
name of it? I
Yeah.
think. Yeah,
Think
yeah, yeah.
so. Yeah. So
And
cool.
stuff like that. So yeah, I think from like that point of view, like for sure, I think like the gameplay can be a bit like lock the fuck on, swing. It's like, why am I missing?
Yeah.
But I mean, like it's of its time in that way. And I don't think it detracts from like the emotional experience you have from playing it and
Yeah,
what you take away.
absolutely. When you think about the story, it's actually really heavy. I've only been thinking about it this much recently in preparation for the podcast. Like it's,
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of talk about time, and it like I don't often think of like the sub meanings of things. I kind of just take things for what they are. But when they're taught, like you have to grow up, and like you think about it, you're in the castle village, and you're in the little village, and it's all bright and colorful, and everything's great when you're a kid,
Yeah.
and you've no worries. And then you go in and you whip the sword out, and then all of a sudden you walk back out, and everything is
Yeah.
fucking dreary because you're an
There's
adult, and it's
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
oh
Zombies
fuck.
trying to molest you. Very, very reminiscent of our day-to-day lives as adults. Dreary as fuck with zombies coming around jumping on you.
But it's just mad. I never thought about that contrast of childhood and adulthood. It's kind of
Yeah,
crazy, isn't
like
it? And
thematically, it's really interesting for
yeah,
sure.
yeah, and
And I
that
think,
maybe it's why though this game is so special. I think to me anyway, because it brings me back to that time of I can just remember playing it so much
mhm.
when I was a kid, and even like I remember I wanted to go in and play, and the Nintendo was in the bedroom, and I shared a bedroom with my brother, and he was in there with his friends, and I can remember like literally like taking the TV out and the Nintendo out, and like I think I brought it into my sister's room and she wasn't there, and setting it
Yeah,
up, and
yeah.
being like a terribly uncomfortable makeshift scenario, but I was like, I have to play the game. I can't wait
Yeah.
until tomorrow. I have
Oh,
to play it,
I
and I can
fucking love
just it
that.
brings me back, like, you know what I mean?
I remember the time I tried to move. The problem with the CRTs was like they were so front
Oh
heavy or back
yeah,
heavy.
yeah,
Do you know?
yeah,
So like they were ridiculously heavy. And I remember as a kid, I don't think I said this, but I was trying to wheel, like, when the TVs are on wheels, almost like, when you're in school and it's like, yes, the substitute teacher's
yeah,
wheeling in the fucking TV.
yeah,
We're gonna
deadly.
watch Ants for the 40th time this year. Let's go. So like, but I remember as a kid, my TV was on this like really like precarious fucking stand, and
Right.
like my life flashed before my eyes of like a 6, 7 year old. I pulled the stand and the TV lobbed forward, and
Oh
this
no
TV
way.
was bigger than me. Like
Yeah.
this TV was and I was like Mission Impossible last second, like rolling out of the way, like duck, dodge, and roll. And that TV smashed all my VHSs. They were
What?
all on the thing on the floor. So I had Toy Story, I had Pokemon, I had like what was that Little Soldiers movie?
Yeah, Small Soldiers.
Small Soldiers. Like there was a few of them. They all smashed,
Yeah.
and I
Oh
was
no
I was
way.
traumatized because I thought I nearly died. And then the TV was on the floor, and then
Then
I'm
the
like,
videos.
"Mom, the TV's on the floor." And she's like, "How the fuck?" All the shit smashed, and I was like, "Oh my god, I'm so
Oh no. The
sorry."
fear when you break something as a kid and you're
Oh
like,
Jesus Christ!
fuck, they're
Even
gonna
if you
find out.
even it was your own fucking body that you broke, you still wouldn't say anything. I'd be there with two broken legs and arms as a 7-year-old underneath the TV. I just keep quiet about it, I just continue on my life as if nothing happened.
Oh man.
Anyway, Zelda, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. To get sidetracked here. So tell me this, right? What's
Mm.
what's your favorite area in the game? What's your favorite dungeon area? What's your favorite place
Oh,
to go?
like again, a lot of my favorite areas were tied. So I have this thing where like it for me, it's less about the dungeons and it's more about the towns because
Okay.
I always really liked relating to like the characters and everything
Mm,
that was going on in there. So I was always very much so immersed about that. Like
yeah.
when I was younger, at least anyway, because I think as far as I would have got was about up to adult Link, and that was about it. I think
Okay.
that's really as a kid where dull and dreary, burnt down castles and zombies running after me was a bit too
Yeah.
much for me at the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
But so you have like Lon Lon Ranch is obviously great tunes in there. What's the town with the where all the spiders are? Do you know in that building? What's the name of it? Before Death Mountain, I
The
think.
Skulltulus Kakariko village.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like I just love that. Like I
Yeah.
love the vibe of it.
Yeah, me too. Funny enough, that's one of my favorite places as well. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's like, you can pick up the chickens and you can jump off things and float around and stuff like that. And there's actually loads in the village. There's
Yeah.
tons in there. Like,
There's a lot of kind of little secret areas, and that's also where you learn. Is it the windmill in there? You learn the Song of Storms.
yeah,
Is it?
yeah, yeah, you do.
Is that
Yeah,
Hallelujah.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
all that stuff, like playing the ocarina, man. I think, to be honest with you, like when I played that game and I realized I was playing the music on the ocarina, that was a big thing that even got me into wanting to play instruments.
Oh, really? Yeah,
Like as in
yeah.
that kind of like that kind of blew me away. And they were such simple melodies, but like they really stuck with you.
Oh, they hit you, yeah, big time.
Yeah. What about you? What are your favorite kind of dungeons or zones, or
Like,
what's excites you?
I don't know why I like Lon Ranch.
It's because you love Malin, man.
Yeah,
She's your
yeah,
babe. She's your
maybe that's
Bior.
what it is. But I also like, you know, the way you can go up to the back of there, and there's the little like shed you can go into, and you can move a few crates around, and there's like cows in there, and you can get a little heart piece. You can go crawl and
Yeah.
get a heart piece, and
And
for
you can
some reason,
also, sorry, you can also, isn't there a thing where you can like play the ocarina for the cows and they give you milk?
yeah. If you have
Yeah,
a
yeah, yeah.
glass bottle, I think you play it and they give you milk. And I know Lon Ranch is kind of a bit. There's not much to it, but for some reason I can remember like doing the race and stuff like that.
Oh my God, against the
Um,
prick who's like, no, I won't give you the horse
Yeah,
or whatever. Yeah, what a
and
knob.
then you jump over the fence and you're like, yeah, fuck you, man, I'm out of here.
Dude, I didn't know. Did you know you could jump over the back? Like, oh my God,
What?
you can jump over the back.
No way, you cannot,
No,
can
you
you?
can. You can. I can't look this up because I know
Right.
the Skin Star rules.
Yeah.
Okay, like, you know that we can jump over the front of the gate.
Yeah.
There's some way you can actually jump. You know, when you're over the gate, then you can
Mm.
jump over the back of the mountain back into Hyrule Field instantly.
No
Like back into the
way.
back of that. I swear. Someone call me out if I'm making it up in my head. Retro rumors,
Retro rumors, yeah.
back with the blast from the past. But I don't know. There's something about that. There's another way you can jump, because
Deadly.
I remember, I think when I was playing it with my pal when we were streaming it, someone was telling us about that on stream, and we are like, no way. And then we did
That's
it, and we were
so
like,
cool.
oh!
Isn't it mad when you think like I've played this game so much, and I thought I've read loads about it, I've watched loads about it, but there's still so much to it. Like, you know what I mean? It's that kind of a game. There's so much to it that I had no clue about that.
Yeah, it goes to show as well, though, that like I feel like games were very complete. Like I feel like there's like, you know, when that was made, like there is still so many secrets. There's so much side missions you can do. There's still like, you know, and there is a lot of theories about it, and you know, the story, and people wonder, you know, about the Triforce and all that.
Yeah,
But like I do think as well, like those games, like you know, they were never going to have DLC or patches to them. They had to be made like, and the Nintendo seal of quality meant something back then. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
absolutely did.
So like I think once, I don't know, like there was such a complete package. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You didn't have to do the DLC to find the big Goron sword or whatever. You know, there wasn't that. Like you had everything in a cohesive world that was all there at one time,
Yeah.
and all on a cart. Right? I found this out the other day. All on a cart of 256 megabytes.
That
You probably
is
get
crazy.
You probably get 3 songs on your iPod with that bad boy.
Your
And I sound
iPod.
like an old man because I've said iPod.
Oh,
On your
brilliant.
smart device.
Yeah, that's crazy, isn't it, when you think about what is actually
When
on
did
the
you
card?
get Ocarina? Like, how did you buy it? Did you get it for Christmas? How did you get it?
I'm trying to think. I can't remember.
Because I know you destroyed the box. That much I know.
Yeah, I did. Oh, yeah, I definitely did. Yeah, I destroyed the box, but I still the cart that I have is still my original cartridge. But I do remember playing. Like, I remember playing it in one of my friends' houses from primary school, and I can remember just sitting there and watching them and being totally blown away by it. And then I don't actually know how I got it. I can't remember actually getting it, but I
Yeah.
do remember the first time sitting down and playing it, and just when you kind of, you know, you walk out of your little hut and you're walking around the little town, Kokiri village, is it?
Yeah.
Kokiri town. And,
Kakari. Yeah, well, I don't know. I always get confused between the place you start off in and then the town, because they sound the same. They won't have like a K-A-K. It's like
yeah,
Kakariko.
I think
and
it's
whatever the other ones.
Kakariko village is
Kokiri or
yeah,
something. I don't know.
yeah. Kokiri is the first place we're in.
Yeah.
So you walk around and just seeing the different people doing things, and like just kind of venturing around, and it's a really good introduction to the game, because you have to go on this little adventure, and you have to find the sword, and then you have to save up enough money. You have to figure out how to get rupees to buy, because
feel like
that little dickhead won't let you in to see the tree unless you fucking have everything.
It's one of those scenarios that, you know, when you're a kid, you're like, I'm going to run away from home. And your parents are like, let's see how long you last. You're basically as that is Link. Like, you wake up in a hut and you're like, oh, shit, I have to start earning. I have to... Do you know what I mean?
Where do I go? Yeah. If you think about that I'm just thinking about that like as an introduction. Thinking about it now, it actually is a really good introduction without holding your hand. Kind of, you know what I mean? Like for ages, it's that whole town. It teaches you everything. You're crawling through the little gap to go in and find the sword. You're
Mhm.
saving up money to buy the rupees, and then you go in, and then you're in the Deku tree, and that as a
Yeah.
fucking dungeon or temple is deadly because
Yeah, it's
you
so
think
cool because
about that jump.
you're in him as well. Do you know what I
Yeah,
mean? It's like you're inside the tree. It's
what
so
a
cool.
clever way of doing a dungeon there.
Mm.
But like that jump, like even now, I kind of get that. Oh, when you have to climb up to the top and you jump
And then
down
with the web.
to go through the web, yeah,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
it's
yeah.
such a huge dive down, and you're like,
And Link is
fuck.
like, hey, yeah! And you're like, oh my god. And he's like, yeah! Oh my
He's going
god.
Super Saiyan while he's
Yeah.
falling. Fuck.
Oh, that's actually something that I'd always love to know about, like the voice actor for Link, because like, has it always been? I feel like that's such a like mystery, is it?
Yeah, I actually have never thought about that. I've never thought about who that person is.
And so he's like,
Let's
sorry,
find out.
sorry, yeah. It's like it's really fucking. And he's like, and then when he like falls and he like breaks his leg, he's like, yeah, or whatever it is. I don't know, but the whole thing is it's pretty cool.
It's so funny. Yeah, and then when when you're trying to like do the side jump or something, when you're trying to go across the field, you're trying to get somewhere fast, or you're doing
Mhm.
the
When you're
flip,
speed
or
running, are you a
when you're just
speed
going.
runner, Nisha?
But no,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
not. But you just keep making the noise, and I
yeah.
say to anyone else who's not immersed in the game, they're like, "Oh, what is that fucking noise?" But when you're in it, you don't give a fuck.
Sure.
You know
I
what I
was the
mean?
same in Wind Waker because rolling forward was faster than walking.
Yeah, yeah,
Like you just be spamming the A button everywhere you're going with the same
yeah,
sound coming out of them. But you were talking about the intro there actually, and how it's like a very well paced intro, because I think
yeah.
that's interesting because that's not something. And I'm not going into like talking about other Zelda games too much, but that's an interesting thing that I think like Twilight Princess got really wrong for me. Was
All
like
right.
I think that game's great, but like the start of it goes on for ages before like it builds up pace. But I think what that game does so well is like, this is what you need to do, this is what you're going, here's your dungeon straight away. Like
Yeah.
you are doing a whole 3-4 hours before you get to that point in
Yeah.
some of the other ones. So the
All
pacing
right.
is really, really good,
It
I
is,
think.
yeah. And I think the first, I'm mapping it out in my head now, so while we're talking about it, so we don't forget anything. So the first three dungeons are, you go into Deku Tree, and then you
Mhm.
go up to Death Mountain, you meet the Gorons, and then you go into Jabu Jabu's belly, and you save Princess Ruto, and
Oh, what a
you're
bitch.
kind of lazy motherfucker making you carry her
She's like,
everywhere.
will you carry me on your head, you little prick? And he's like, all right, okay, fine.
So that's the start of it. I'm trying to map it out in my head now, so I'm not forgetting anything. I'd
Mhm.
really liked that. Actually, here's another place that I really like in this game is the walkway up to Zora's domain. I don't know why, because there's actually loads in it. So when you go down to the river, you go under the little pass, and then you first of all you walk in, and there's a guy
Yes.
eating the beans, and he
And
sells you
he's
the
the magic
beans.
beans. Yeah. And he's
Yeah.
like, munch. These are my
Yeah.
magic beans. Yeah. I know the
And you
guy.
plant them, and then when you're older, you can zip around the place. But that whole walkway up, those beans are really cool as well. I loved seeing them in my inventory because of the colors. I
Yeah.
don't know, because they're really colorful. That's a bit weird, but I just really like seeing them there.
Nisha leading into like some weird things in his life right now. I just love having magic beans in my
Yeah,
pocket
man.
at all times.
Absolutely. But so you walk up, you go up that little walkway, and then there's the little frogs. Remember the little frogs
I
in,
do.
in the river, and they'd be like
And you have
singing
to.
or something like that.
Do you have to play the ocarina to their melody or
You do,
something?
yeah, something along those lines. Yeah, you're like singing, and then there's just so much there. Then there's chickens, and you have to get the chicken to jump over to the area to get the heart, and then there's like you fall into the river and you get fucking whipped back down to the start, and there's loads in that little
But that's
run up.
why like the pacing and adventure is really well, because you're in the field and then you go into this kind of new zone and you're building up into the main area. You're
Yeah,
getting a taste of each thing as you're going along, and you
Yeah.
have all these little kind of side distractions. Or like stab the chickens 1,000 times till the whole flock of them come in, and it's like, you fucked up my boy. They're all like coming on in like, we're taking you away.
Yeah, but it's just
But
that's I don't know why that I actually really like
sticks with you.
that run.
Mm-hmm.
You know
I know
what I
what you're
mean?
talking about. And then there's the waterfall, and you have to play. That's actually, because you mentioned it, just touched on it, obviously, and sticking with the first three dungeons. But like the idea of obviously, being able to go back and forward in time is like
Yeah.
such a cool mechanic, and
Oh,
seeing
totally.
like,
And how much
figuring
things
something
change.
out. Yeah. And like, having information, going back to get information and then using that information forward is like so smart.
Oh,
But
brilliant! Yeah.
I think like Jabu Jabu's belly was definitely like the first part where I was like, when I was replaying it recently, I was like, okay, escort mission. I was
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
all right,
yeah.
you're annoying me. And she was very like she's one of those people who's like, I hate you, but I'll see you in bed later.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So where do they get? Does she say they have to get married and stuff like that?
Yeah, I think so. And then when you're older, she's like really tries to come back and get you to pay that bill.
Then getting into the castle. So when you're going up to meet Zelda, I love
Yes. Oh,
that little task of the soldiers.
the little
You know,
stealth
and
section.
yeah. That's pretty cool. You're going on Metal Gear Solid when you're trying to get around the corner and stuff like that.
It's great unless you have the fucking patience of a fucking fish like I do. And I was like, just run it. And I was like, cat, run it, cat. I was like, fuck off. I just want to see my princess.
Oh god. And then I love the little, when you get there and you can look through the window. Do you know that?
Yes.
And you see the pictures of, is it Mario and Yoshi and stuff like that hanging
I
up?
don't know, is there a Bowser as
hallway.
well at a certain angle, I think?
Yeah.
Which is really, really cool. Yeah.
I was just gonna say, Zelda's actually really cool in this game as well, and not just Zelda. Spoiler alert.
Oh, are we talking about shit? Are we talking about I'm going to take a shit? Oh my god, chic, man.
Yeah.
Chic. Okay, cool question for you, right? For you, right? Because I think this was a question asked to the developers, right?
Yeah.
Because, and I think I looked this up recently because when I used to play Smash Brothers, right? There was you could play as Zelda and you press down and B, you turn into Sheik. Right,
cool.
That was in Smash Brothers Melee, I think the GameCube one.
Nice.
And so I was always of the question was like, okay, is it a disguise or does Zelda have the power to become a man? Because I was always wondering in it because it was like, and I think the developers like, no, it's actually just a case that she just fucking has a disguise. But like she got like really muscly, she got like everything or whatever it was. Like there was a whole like change in it. So I was always wondering, and also everything was skin tight, so like there was a fucking big package going on down there. It was like,
was there? I don't remember. I don't fucking remember that, man.
I might be taking liberties here.
I always thought she was just wearing the disguise. I didn't think she was.
I didn't know. I thought she might have like a magical power to be like, whoever she wanted to be or something. But I don't know. This was just questions going through my child brain. Do you know what I mean? Because I was like figuring out. It was pure innocence. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But I just, she was such like a mysterious character.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And then very cool and teaching the music, and I love her instrument of the harp.
Yeah,
the kind of
sure.
the U-shaped harp harp. I always thought that was really cool.
Do you remember the revelation of Sheik being Zelda? Like, do you remember that moment?
I think I do because I'm getting some memories of shock hitting me because I was like, fucking no way, that's so cool. Do you remember it?
See, again, since I kind of played it more recently, you know, like it was kind of happening at the time when it was happening, but I always knew from the history because, too much time has elapsed. Like, for playing Smash Brothers and other things, like, it was just ingrained in your head. I remember I was watching Let's Players Game Grumps. I just was watching them on YouTube for a good while, and they were like, it was 8 years ago, and there's two of them playing, and one guy knew the story, but this guy, Danny, was his first time playing, and we found out that, like, Sheik was Zelda. He was like, fuck off, no! It's like a proper seeing someone who's been sheltered from games and didn't have a clue about that and getting that like raw reaction of it. I was like, that's awesome, man.
Deadly. That's so cool.
But yeah, Sheik Zelda's Bay, Zora, Malon.
Malon. Then one thing I think is really cool is the main Goron, Darunia.
Yeah, he's fucking dancing.
Yeah, well, the dancing is deadly. The dancing is classy. Absolutely, he gives it socks. It's really cool. But the fact that he names his son Link, when you go back, I was like, oh, that's really cool, man.
Oh, I don't remember that.
Yeah. His son is called Link. He names him
cool.
after.
Out of curiosity, if I call my name Keith in the game, is the son called Keith?
I don't know.
I'm assuming it probably takes the name that you name your character. I'm
gonna find it out because I named my character Yoshi. When I'm playing now, my Link's name is Yoshi, and I'm just at the fire temple. I'm gonna be going up there, so I'll find out.
What madness in your brain wanted to make you call Link Yoshi? Where you're like, nah, he's a dinosaur.
I really don't know. I do that sometimes when I'm naming the characters. Like I'll name them. Like I've named him Mario. I've named Link, and then I gave I gave my friend Steel end of my N64 and
Mhm.
Ocarina of Time just so we could, because he'd never played it before, and I got it back, and he'd named Link Stink.
You see,
Which-
it's the simplest ones that are sometimes the funniest, because I
oh,
would
I
always
thought it
be
was
an
gas.
idiot where I'd be like, oh, whatever, we'll call him Dick or something.
Yeah,
You know what I
yeah,
mean? Something stupid like in
yeah.
Pokemon. That's actually a funny thing about retro games, is that there was a lot of like, obviously they wanted you to project you onto the character. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? So like, a lot of all those older protagonists, like Link never spoke.
Mm.
Because it's the same with like, I don't know, I'm thinking of the characters like Master Chief, or what other video game characters are mute? I'm trying to think like,
Well, in the original Pokemon, do you talk
no, you don't talk in any Pokemon, even
in
in the
red and
new
blue?
ones.
Do
In
you
the
not
new ones,
know?
you don't either. No, you're always. I'm pretty sure.
You're being taught
You're
that,
always answering a question, so it's like yes or no, but like
right?
it's always kind of spoken for you. So there's a lot of Nintendo games, and that's like the idea of projecting your essence onto the character. So rather than the character having a character already, you can
All
embody
right.
yourself. So you can feel more like the hero of your journey. I feel like I'm Link rather than Link being the person who's edgy, or like Sonic is a very defined character. You're
Oh,
not going to
totally,
be.
yeah.
I'm not projecting myself onto a chili dog loving hedgehog. Do you know? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like, that's kind of interesting back then, because it's like naming your characters, or even like, call like Gary, your rival something, and you name all your Pokemon the nicknames or whatever.
But for some reason in Pokemon, I was like, my character was always Ash. My rival was always Gary.
See, I was the same, because I wanted to be Ash. Do you know?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I didn't want to be like me. I didn't want to be the pathetic, sad loser that I was. It's like the problem of projecting yourself onto a character is if but I get that. And same with the Pokemon. For me, I would never nickname the Pokemon, because
Yeah, me
I was
either.
like, because I think I wanted to be
In that world.
Yeah, like I wanted to be
have-
the character. Like I wanted
Yeah.
to be Ash, who has Butterfree, fucking Charizard, and Pikachu and stuff. Do you know?
Yeah. Well, here's another question for you.
Mhm.
Ocarina of Time based. What is your favorite weapon? Actually, hold on. Here's a better one. We'll go with weapon
Okay,
after
fuck
this, right?
that one. All right,
Here-
that one's
fuck
done.
that, right now, here's one. What's your favorite tunic to wear? Green, red, or blue? What do you think looks
fuck.
the coolest?
I mean, this is just like this is like my fashion in real life. It depends on the day, but
yeah, I suppose. Yeah.
like in general, right? Like red is kind of my favorite color for a lot of
Yeah.
things, but then
All right.
like the blue I think looks snazzy on him, because the blonde hair with the blue, like
Yeah,
that's
it
kind of
looks
vibe.
pretty
I'm thinking, I'm thinking purely from an aesthetical point of view. If he's going to be
Yeah.
hot looking.
He is.
I don't know. I feel like that's a hard one to answer. I really don't know.
Right.
I feel like the blue is. I feel like sometimes the one I wore the least is the one I like the most, because I just like would forget about it. Like I had the red one on for weight. Like I didn't realize that you took more damage wearing the wrong tunics at different times, I think.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So, and then I was like, oh shit, but I'm going to go with green, man. I'm going to go with green because
Classic.
the red and blue are cool, but I'm going to go with the classic. What about you?
Nice. I like the red. The red with the gold boots, with the little wings on them. Even though they're a fucking pain in the arse to walk around in, they just looked snazzy as fuck, didn't they? Those big gold boots.
I love you. You're like, so wait, what color did you pick?
Red.
So red or sliding around Hyrule in your hover boots, like fucking sliding up to Milan by Story Milan girl. How are you getting on? Do you like my new tunic and my fucking floaty boots?
I always thought that was just a cool aspect of the game, is that you could change it into whatever one you wanted. Like
it was, and I'm sure there's probably so much stuff that they had as an idea for maybe more, or that they did other things, or they gave you different powers. Like, because I know there's so much fucking people have dug so much into the like Ocarina of Time. It's data, it's rumors, it's everything.
Yeah. And then what about weapons? There's so many weapons.
Like the weapon scenario, right? So the Deku stick is obviously. Do you say, is it Deku or Deku?
I say Deku. What do you say? Deku?
I say Deku.
Yeah, whatever you want to say.
All right, thanks.
I know this is a big thing. It's like it's Ocarina or Ocarina. It's like it's whatever the fuck you want to call it, man.
Yeah. Well, actually, I have a really funny one. I'm so bad for fucking talking about Pokemon, man. I don't know why I keep talking about it. I can't get away from it.
That's okay.
There was a guy who I knew before, and the Pokemon gyms.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Oh, I'm going up to the Gaim now." I was like, "You're going where?" I was like, He's like, to the guy, man. I was like, what the fuck is a guy?
Fuck off. Was he serious?
Oh, he was dead serious. I'm sure he was only a young fella. Like, I'd say he was like a year or two younger than me or something. I think it was like my friend's cousin or something. And I was like, oh, but he never let that down, the poor fecker. He was known as Guym from that moment
Oh
on.
yeah.
Anyway, sorry,
Brilliant.
what were we talking about? Best weapon.
Best weapons. Yeah, there's so many different ones. Like, so
Well,
many good
technically,
ones.
the Deku stick is the best weapon, isn't it?
Why?
Because it does the most damage. Like, if you use the
Does
Deku
it,
stick
yeah?
as a sword, apparently it does the most damage. This is like a
Fuck, I didn't know
speedrunner
that.
tactic. But there's
Shit.
something about the Deku stick, and if you just run with it or something, it does the most damage. Like that.
Gee, I
There's
didn't
something
know
about that.
That's
And then
pretty
if you
cool.
keep like changing it before it breaks, you can keep reusing it. Or there's
Yeah,
some kind of
yeah.
weird.
And when it's on fire, if you change it, or change weapon and go back, I think it
Was
doesn't.
I can tell you the fucking thing that annoys me most is the fucking lens of justice or whatever it's
The
called.
lens of truth. Lens of justice. Yeah, the lens of truth.
Like, it's a cool idea. I don't know. I just was
Yeah.
like, there was always an inventory management thing. It's like, oh, fuck, I have to whip. That's actually one thing that, I think they did in the 3DS remake version of the game they got right, where it's like, on the bottom of the screen, you had all your weapons you could pick.
All right.
But, you know, the way, like, if you were someone who was watching you play Ocarina of Time when you were, like, whatever, all you'd hear is you going into the menu, go,
Yeah.
like the little square box rotating, constantly assigning shit to your C stick or whatever.
Yeah.
The hook shot was like kind of fun, I suppose.
Hook shot was pretty cool, yeah. I quite liked the boomerang when you were young Link.
Yeah.
And the slingshot.
Yeah, for sure. Those like first person stuff were kind of very novel as well.
Yeah. The bow and arrow, I was just gonna say, the bow and arrow is really cool. You know, when you do is it in Gerudo Valley? You're in the desert and you're riding on Epona, and you can do the like competition to shooting the bow and
I know
arrow.
what you're talking about. And it's also, you shoot the bow and arrow, like, and you can shoot an arrow through the fire to light something on the other side if you don't have a fire arrow.
Yeah,
do you like
so
stuff
cool.
that like uses that? Is really, really cool.
Yeah.
The mirror shield scared me. I always found it weird that the mirror shield was like, what you would have on your back, as opposed to I didn't like the unofficialness of the mirror shield. I'm like, yeah, I have the fucking Hyrule shield or whatever it is. That's Zelda. And then the mirror shield had this like old man sad face on the front of it or something, didn't it?
Yeah, I think it does have like a frowny face or some sort of face on it. Yeah.
It's just you looking at yourself from the future in the mirror of the back of his shield with fucking the psychosis demons coming for you. That's actually what it was the whole time. It's literally just the mirror of his shield looking at my sad head, man.
I'm just thinking, I was really into fashion of Ocarina of Time, because I really liked wearing the gold boots with the red tunic and the mirror shield and the big Goron sword. Even if it wasn't practical, I'd have that shit on. I'd be rocking that look. Like that's what I liked going around the place in.
Yeah, your man would be like, come on, race me in this horse to win. And he's like, nah, boy, I'll be walking in these boots, baby. See me sliding down. Like, Nisha is like in an ice rink of Hyrule with a giant overweighted sword flopping around the place.
I don't know why. I used to always do that. Like, I'd put on the tunic. I was like, yeah, I'm going to put this. This is going to look cool. I'm gonna be walking around.
Yeah. There was that, I think, as well. Like, so obviously there was like the scary guys, there was the weapons of it, there was the temples of it, and then like, and you had your little Easter eggs as well. But like, did you have any issues with the game? I mentioned Z targeting and some like management. Obviously, I know the game is near and dear to you, and I know it's like, but you're replaying the Master Quest at the moment.
Yeah, I am. Yes.
So you're having kind of like an extra difficult version of the game, which might lead to more frustration of potential mechanics, or is it just so ingrained in you that you're fine with it?
Like the mechanics of the game, they actually never bother me, if I'm being honest. The only thing that I did found, the only kind of negative thing I can think of, because I don't think anything negative when I think of this game. I enjoyed it so much. I don't know. I love all of it. Maybe the time it takes going to places. Now I know you can use the ocarina to warp to temples and stuff like that, but maybe the time, because when you get into it and you have to go here and you have to go there, and sometimes that can be a bit arduous or arduous or whatever that word is.
I think it's one of those things that on your first playthrough it's fine, because you know, like you're kind of absorbing. But I guess if you're someone who's replayed it 10 times, you're like, I just want to kind of get to the area, because like I know one of Wind Waker's biggest criticisms was that like the sailing people found boring,
Yeah.
but for me, the sailing was like my favorite part
Oh,
because
really? Yeah.
I was always like role playing that adventure in my head. So being
Mm.
able to, get on to like, go from an island and get on it. Because that game was kind of definitely open worldish. Do
Oh,
you
it
know,
was
like as in
fucking
because
huge.
yeah, and like fair enough that people say maybe there's not a lot on it or but you could actually the fact for me that you'd be on an island that
Mm.
exists in a night and day cycle, go onto a boat, travel, and then go find another island, do you know what I mean? And then go
Yeah.
on that, like that kind of sense of feeling like you're the traveler, the discoverer. I
Mm.
think like I always liked that in games as a kid, at least anyway. But I understand what you mean, like as in it could be kind of like wasted space. Like imagine if Hyrule Field, as you said, had more going on in it
Yeah.
along the way. Do you know?
Mm. I think they like maybe it was a space thing because they had put so much onto the cart that they couldn't put too much into that area because it was so big as well. Maybe it wouldn't load or something. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because that area is so big. But that's the only kind of thing I can think of. But the Master Quest that I'm playing through now is very interesting. It's so like certain parts of it are so weird.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously it's a bit more difficult. So at the start, I noticed that in the Deku Tree, there's more enemies, and then I can't remember too much with the second the Fire Temple when you wherever you go into, but in Jabu Jabu's belly, there's like just cows like hanging out of the wall or hanging out like the walls in the
If
room.
you didn't have enough nightmares as it was, there's just cows like
And
fucking chilling out.
it's so fucking weird, and you have to hit them, and it's really bizarre. Well, obviously the idea of the whole game is bizarre, but it's so wonderfully bizarre that these cows are just there. Maybe he went on a rampage and ate loads of cows, and
But like, did the
maybe
Master Quest, was the Master Quest made? I know there's something about Zelda that was also intended for the disc drive of the N64. You know, that add-on we were talking
yeah,
about last time. And I don't know, was the Master Quest intended for that first, or I don't know
maybe it
what it
was.
was or where it came from with it, because it's
It-
essentially like a hard mode, right? Like you take more damage. Is that
yeah,
kind of, and there's like the puzzles are reworked and the dungeons are kind of reworked, but the
yeah.
story stays the
Things
same,
are
yeah.
yeah, it does stay the same. One thing that I'm really looking forward to, and I don't know yet, is as far as I know, there's an extra dungeon in Master Quest, but I don't know
Ooh,
what it is. I don't know where it is. I don't know how I'm going to stumble upon it. Am I going to find it? Is it going to be? Am I going to be
that's
led into it?
wild.
So, and I'm not looking up anything about it. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
I want it to be a total surprise to me
Yeah, yeah. Well, I
if and
hope
when
it's
I
there
find
for
it.
you.
So
Yeah,
do
because
I. Otherwise,
it'd be
it's going to be
like
another
the
fucking Pokemon
credits.
Snap situation
The
where I'm looking
credits
for
are
a
rolling.
64th.
You're looking at yourself in the mirror shield, bawling, crying.
Fuck, where was it?
Yeah. Do you know, actually, going back to the weapon, I
Yeah.
don't know if this is thing, but Din's fire, man, is
Ah,
fucking
yes,
class.
fucking
The fact Link just does some sort of breakdance move and he's like, whoa,
yeah,
slaps down that and there's like that big fire explosion. Like when I was first playing that properly, I was
yeah.
like, I didn't know all this shit existed. Do you know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
And I was like, it's so cool.
It is. There's so like the weapons and stuff like that, and the powers in this game are just fucking deadly. And there's so many. There's such a good variety, and then all the different masks and stuff you can get from the Happy Mask Salesman or whatever he's called.
Yeah, which they obviously like expanded as a whole plot line for Majora's
Yeah,
Mask.
which is really cool. What a fucking mental game Majora's Mask is.
And you can't like the crazy thing about that game is like do you know the story behind Majora's Mask?
I've played it and I completed it
Oh,
as a kid, but
do you know the creation story? I mean, sorry, apologies, that's my fault.
no,
So
I
like
can't
the
think.
basically like that game was made within like a year. So like
All
what
right.
happened was I don't know one of the I can't remember what's like one of the maybe the one main Zelda developers was talking to Miyamoto and he's like I have this idea for a sequel and he's like well and he's like he was kind of iffy on it. He's like well if you can do it in X amount of time
Right.
you can do it. So that's why Majora's Mask has so much of the assets of Ocarina of Time. So like they were using all the exact same things. Now they still made like this completely like amazing new kind of experience that was a lot darker.
Totally. Yeah.
Where like the tone of that game, like you've met with an unexpected fate, is a line that fucking rings through the ages in gaming. Do you know?
Absolutely. I'm thinking.
But
I'm thinking of things now. So one thing, I was still am arguably a fucking idiot. But back in the day, right? I was playing this, and I
don't
think.
call yourself that. You are a very smart, intelligent young man.
Oh, thank you. I'm fairly sure I don't know. I don't know why I led to believe this. That you're talking about the spiders in Kakariko Village, the
Mm-hmm.
people who are cursed,
Yeah.
and you have to collect the gold. I used to call them skulliatas, but they're called skultulas. I don't know why.
Sculptulas, I think I used to
Yeah,
call them
I
sculptulas.
I called
Yeah.
them skulliatas for a long time. I don't know why, but
You like,
or,
where's my sculptulas?
but I got stuck on. I think it was 97 of them, and I believed that I had broken the game and I couldn't get the last three, and I just left it. So throughout 20 years,
Fucking
I
hell.
let this go, and then it was only a couple of years ago that I was like, I have to go back and
Yeah.
play this. And I had my original save file from when I was a kid was on my card, and I went back and true, I needed to use a guide because I had no fucking clue where they
Mm-hmm.
were. But because I didn't know which ones I had, I was fucking going around for ages and ages on this list of trying to find them. But eventually,
Yeah,
I
you
got
nearly
them.
would have been quicker starting over again, hypothetically,
Yeah,
instead of trying to
yeah,
find the last one. Yeah,
possibly,
yeah.
yeah. But I ended up getting them, but for some reason, I had thought I had like corrupted my game somehow, and I couldn't get the last ones, or else I don't know why I'm thinking this, but else I thought there was 97, and that was it, and I was like, yeah, I have them all. I can't
Yeah,
remember.
you
It's a
just
bit
convince
foggy, but
yourself of it. It's like,
maybe
yeah,
that's what it
I can't
was.
find the last few, so I definitely got them all. It's like, yeah, do you know what I mean? It's like that's another
Oh,
tick off the bucket list.
oh, fucking hell.
But what is the dark story around that? Because those sculptula, like whatever they are, like as in, like it was
Yeah,
really dark. It was really
fucking right, it was, yeah,
depressing. They were all trapped as like these fucking spiders with heads coming out of them. And
yeah.
what did you get when you got them? All the things.
I can't even fucking remember
Oh
now.
my god,
Yeah.
that's gonna haunt me
I
because I
know you
feel
get
like,
the little thing that looks like a rumble pack. It's like a little stone thing
and is
from
it just to
at
have
one
rumble in
point.
the game? It's like,
Yeah, possibly.
congratulations, you can play the game with the vibrating controller.
Yeah.
It's like, fuck, thank you.
I can't actually remember what I got when I finished it, and I only did it like or not last year, a couple of years ago for the first time.
Oh, this is like
Shit,
the
I
most
should
time
have
I've been
looked it
on
up.
this podcast now where like I am dying to know
Nah,
what it
man,
is.
leave it, leave it.
I'm
Let people
dying.
tell us. Let people tell
Let
us.
people scream at us. Uh, but like, yeah, so like that's like another one of those things, the collectathons you're going through with it. Getting the big Goron sword, man, was a fucking adventure.
Yeah, yeah, and
And
actually, I'm kind of halfway through it almost. So I'm up to the part where I woke up Talon with the chicken, with the blue chicken, I think it was.
you know,
And
you're like playing a fucking insane game where you're like, I woke up Talon with the chicken.
yeah.
The standard like Tuesday night. Go
And
on.
then you're in the woods, I think, and he gives you give someone's brother who looks like a skeleton. You give him the chicken, I think, do you? And then he gives you a mushroom, and then you have to run over to within a certain amount of time to Kakariko Village, and give the mushroom to the witch or the potion lady, and
Uh-huh.
then she gives you something else, and then you have to run somewhere. But basically, I'm ended up with I have a saw at the moment, and I think I have to give it to the carpenters wherever they are.
It's really, really cool though. Like I love that stuff. And the reward that at the time you don't really know. Well, you do kind of know what you're doing. Do you is there the big Gorons like, here we're gonna do, you gotta do this shit to get it, or do you know what you're doing?
I can't remember actually. I can't remember.
Okay, one thing though. Here we're
Yeah.
talking about fucking young sexual awakenings, right? Fucking
What?
the fucking fairy lady who
Oh
comes out
shit!
with her.
Yeah.
I mean, look, you could put a bag over her head, but like she could, she she comes out and she's like, and she's like, whoa, and all like the game knows what it's doing,
Yeah,
dude.
yeah.
The camera angles are on butt or fucking tats.
Yeah.
And it's just like, and Link's like, and it's like, oh my god.
Yeah. Like it's
That much I
really
remember.
over the top, isn't it? It's
Oh,
really
like
fucking,
for a Nintendo game,
yeah.
she is literally wearing like glitter as a costume. Like
Yeah.
it's so funny.
Even the noise. I remember sometimes like when she'd come out of the fountain and she'd make the noise, and I remember being like, oh shit, I hope my ma doesn't hear this noise and think I'm in here. Like,
Because you two knew there was something going on in your brain.
Yeah.
There was some awakenings. Like, oh, if my mum sees me looking at this, like like 2 polygons, she's gonna freak out. Yeah, because that like stuff like that, you don't want to forget, man. That's like such a pivotal part of the game, like the fucking
Yeah.
going to the fairy fountains and stuff.
So another thing I was talking about. So there was the goal Skullitus, that took me 20 years to get. But one thing I have never been able to do in this game is, when you go to Lake Hillier and you can go fishing in the little fishing pond.
I do. I remember my pal was trying to get like the fucking fat boy fish for what was literally probably 7 years.
Like I still haven't done it. And I've been trying and trying and trying. You get like the sinking lure, and I think it's like there's like the black eel at the bottom of the pond and just sits there.
Mhm.
And I can remember, like, no joke, hours upon hours, days after days, weeks after weeks. I fucking could never get that fucking fish. And one thing that I still haven't done it. I can't do
Oh,
it.
but you see, like, this is something now that like needs to be like, you gotta come back with the news. Like, we need to send you on a mission. We need to give you
Yes.
homework, being like, all right, there's 2 things, right? You need to get that fish, and I
Yeah.
want you to document your process of getting that fish.
I will. I'll do it during Master Quest. I'm playing Master Quest now. I'm gonna make that my goal. Fucking never mind getting the Triforce and saving Hyrule. I want to get that fucking fish.
Yeah, no. The fish is where it's at. That black eel at the end of the like, it's all a metaphor for life, really, isn't it? It's like gotta bring up that black eel at the end of the old fucking lake, of depression. It's all fine. Looking at my mirror shield, but I do think though, like, because you mentioned it, you're like, you don't look too much into things. But like, I think that is the reason though, like, why it's such an emotional impact though as well for me, because it's like I seen that game since I was 8 till I was 13, all the way through, and there is such good parallels between being a kid and it all being like easygoing, fun, colorful, imaginative, and then being older and it just being like fucking hell. Jesus, can that CRT TV come down and fucking kill me now? If there's one way to go, it's being crushed by a giant old fat TV. It's just me fucking pulling it along. But yeah, so what you get though if you get the eel? Sorry,
I don't even know. Probably a couple of fucking rupees or something. I don't know.
Money that you can't spend on anywhere else.
I'll have to do it. Like, here. I don't know if this is like I've played this game so much, but I can't. Maybe it's just because there's so much in it. Like, I can't remember every fucking little detail, even though it's my favorite game of all time. But I quite like that, because now that I'm playing Master Quest, like, even the thing for the big Goron sword, that had just totally went out of my head until I was in the middle of doing it, and I was running over to Kakariko Village with the mushroom to the witch in the potion shop, and then I was like, oh fuck yeah, that's where this leads to.
It's nice to have that like rediscovery, and that it be kind of like still fresh, and that it's not like you're completely running off exactly where what you're going to do every 2 seconds. There's still a bit of adventure in figuring out what it's about.
Yeah, and even the dungeons, because some of the dungeons, like, everyone knows the Water Temple and how notoriously difficult that is. And like, I'd say if I was to tackle that now,
oh my god, dude, the Water Temple,
lost.
I had a breakdown. I was playing it on stream and I was drinking a few glasses of wine and I was lost and half cut trying to get through the Water Temple, and I actually got a guy on a call with me trying to help me through it, and I was like, I mean, I wasn't drunk, like, I literally just had like 2 glasses of wine. I'd like, like, I was like, we're chilling out, we had a late stream, like, I know I wouldn't drink or whatever. And like, it was like, fuck it, I'm staying here tonight. It was like over Christmas or something. Yeah. And I was like, the Water Temple, it doesn't matter, man. It doesn't matter if you've beaten it yesterday or you've beaten it 5 minutes ago. And everyone's probably going like, the Water Temple's not that bad. The Water Temple is fucking... God help you playing the Master Quest on the Water Temple, by the way.
Fuck. I'm in for it, man. I'm in for it. Jeez, I'd actually never thought about how extra difficult it's going to be this time around. Shit.
I don't know, like, I think it's the nausea of being lost and then you end up in the same room 16 times. You're like, but I know I've gone through that door. I know I've gone through it. And then like someone saying, yeah, but this is a different door. It's like, it's not though. It's the one I went through. And you're like, it can't be real. Oh my God. I think that's the worst for sure.
Oh, it's so difficult. But that fight then with Dark Link, I thought was really cool. When you're in that, like, it's just like this shadowy...
Is that the mini boss for that dungeon?
I think so.
And then you fight a big like fucking like squid creature thing with a little red ball in its squid, and then you stab that. That boss fight's actually easy, but yeah, the Darkling fight, I was wailing on him like I can't remember what the specifics are of it, But like Jesus, you'd have to be like spamming him. I don't
Yeah,
know.
I think he used like Din's fire or something, and you can fucking blitz him out of it. But it's it's a fucking difficult. For so, you know what has just popped into my head, which is really weird. The boss in the Water Temple looks like. Have you played Final Fantasy X?
No.
Oh shit, man! There was a boss in Final Fantasy X, right, in a forest, and it was like a blob that had like a a colored stone inside it for their eye or their heart or whatever. And I remember playing that, and I couldn't fit. I was like fighting the boss for hours, for hours. I literally fell asleep playing the game, and I woke up the next day, and the PS2 was still running. And this must have been
Oh
like during my summer
man.
holidays.
Yeah,
PS2
yeah.
was still running. I woke up the next morning, and I literally woke up. The fight was still going because it was turn based, and I
Oh
just
my
kept going.
god.
I kept going, and then I remember I think I had to like I think I got a magazine or a guide or something. I had to buy a guide, and I figure out that it was an elemental thing. So if you hit it with fire, you had to hit it with an opposite one the next time.
Mm-hmm.
And but that the bosses looked the exact same. I don't know. That's mad. I haven't
I
thought
feel
about
like
that memory in so long. That's fucking crazy.
I feel like that's like I feel like there's always a part of a game where someone's like, shit, what do we use for this boss? Like, just fucking take a blob and fucking put it as an enemy, you'll be fine. Like there's always the blob enemy in every fucking game ever. It's like, oh yeah, just like fucking like a bit of fucking shit on the floor, fight
Yeah,
it. Like, do you know what I
yeah.
mean?
Do you
You
know
know
what's
what I
just after coming back? So sorry, man.
yeah,
Something
no,
else is
no,
just
go,
after
go,
coming
go,
back, and
go. Go.
I think it was the Water Temple, and I got totally fucking lost. Right, I remember when I was first playing Ocarina of Time, I was so fucking lost, and there was a magazine. I don't know what magazine it was. It was a Nintendo magazine, but each month they would have like a guide for a dungeon, and they'd give
Mm-hmm.
you a bit of a walkthrough for each dungeon. And I remember getting lost, but I'm fairly sure it was the Water Temple, and the magazine had just gone up to whatever's just before the Water Temple, and I literally had to wait. Like I spent like 2 weeks. No
You had
fucking
no
joke.
autonomy to like
No
do the
joke.
rest of it yourself.
Yeah,
You're
I
like, no, I
could,
gotta
but I
wait for the
couldn't.
new
No, I
magazine.
couldn't.
But
I
you
was
couldn't.
trying, and then I was just like roaming. I was just kind of adventuring around the rest of the game, but I was literally waiting. And I can remember going up, and there used to be a super value, a little news agents, little old school news agents. And I remember getting the magazine and going home and being like, yes, fucking yes, and getting through. And then I just kept going and managed to figure it out. But I remember like waiting weeks. Now that's fucking old school for this
And when you're
magazine to
waiting
come out.
weeks back then, that's like years in today's like equivalent of time, do you know, when you're
Yeah,
like that young and like 1 year is equated to like 1/5 of your life anyway, do you know?
yeah, exactly, yeah. But fuck, that's just after coming back to me as well.
That's
Fucking hell,
gas, man.
yeah, it's
Fucking waiting to get
crazy.
on it. And like that's such like that's such a cool thing because it's like you know when something transcends into your real life, do you know where it's like, no,
Yeah,
I have to go to the shop. I'm waiting for this to come out. I get to go there, and then you're like, you're pumped to go, and then you still can't fucking beat it.
yeah, yeah. Fuck, what a great final boss fight though. Fighting Ganondorf. I love the like fucking tennis style of batting the fucking beams back
Yeah.
at each other, and him floating around, even climbing like his castle, going up the castle. Also the bridge to the castle. I fucking love that rainbow bridge.
See,
You
because
know,
the interesting thing about the castle as well is, you know, the castle was supposed to be like Mario 64. So that's why the castle's there. The castle was supposed to be originally for Zelda Ocarina of Time. It was supposed to be because, you know, the castle has all the different doors leading to different
yeah,
sections. That
yeah.
was the idea at first, that you'd go in and there wasn't going to be connective hub world and you would just have a different dungeon in each room. And then they
All
reused the
right.
purpose of the castle as the final boss
Well,
kind
that's
of
pretty
hub
cool.
mini dungeon area. Yeah, yeah. So that was supposed to be like Peach's castle. They had that like design at first,
Ah,
which
yeah,
is
that makes sense.
a cool aspect that they reused
Yeah.
as kind of the final boss area then.
Oh,
But
what a fight! What a fight! And then you think it's
yeah.
all over,
But
and then
but you know the way you
fuck.
come in, but you come into Ganondorf and he's playing the organ,
Yeah,
and it's
that
like
is
such a
so
cool.
cool.
Yeah, it's
The
awesome.
music, that even just when you're running up the stairs and it's going on for ages and ages, and it's the fucking the big windows, and oh, what a fucking
See, the first time I played that properly was on the Wii U, and I don't know if you know much about the Wii U virtual. It's like the Wii's virtual console. It's the exact
right.
same thing,
Okay.
and the input delay in that, particularly on the Wii U, is atrocious.
Oh,
So
really? Yeah.
playing tennis, like I would have to hit that button yesterday before Link would swing the sword to get it on in there. So like, I managed to actually get myself stuck in that battle too.
Are you
where like
serious?
I managed to, because there was something about running out of magic when you had to use the charge and the swing attack to hit like the multiple bollocks back at him, do you know?
Right. Yeah.
And I was just fucking like stuck. I don't know what I did to get past it, but I used like a different weapon or something, or I used a bottle. Maybe
Yeah.
I should use the bottle to hit it back or something. I don't know.
What
Yeah,
a
that final
fight.
boss fight, and then he turns into fucking like Pig Ganondorf,
Yeah, how
and you're like,
cool is that?
whoa, yeah.
That fucking battle was so cool, and he has those big. Looks like is it Raphael from Ninja Turtles? They're
Hmm.
swords, but they look like big fucking spikes, and just the way it's like the castle is totally destroyed, and you're fucking all the fire around you. It's totally fucking epic, and then Zelda comes in and she fucking hits him with that big beam of light, and you're just like,
Oh,
fucking
and the part where your Master Sword gets knocked away.
yeah, yeah,
At the
yeah,
start
yeah,
of that fight, right?
yeah,
So it's like,
yeah.
and then you're left with fucking. In my case, in the second playthrough, it's like, welp, I didn't get the big Goron sword. Here goes my Deku stick.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Like fucking smacking him with a bottle, a giant dinosaur. It's like,
Yeah.
get away. But you know
Wow.
what? As well, the ending of the game always chokes me up.
Yeah.
Honest to God, because like the first time I saw that when I was at my friend's house, I was like, as I said, there was something about like when a game traverses that much amount of time with you growing up in your formative years, there is a sense that you have that attachment to that
Yeah.
game. Like it does hold that emotional, that those sentimental value, that place in your heart. So, and the game
Totally.
does so perfectly mirror that idea of from being a kid going into adulthood. Do you know what I mean? Like those
Yeah.
are like there is kind of those kind of things about it when you grow up with the game. At least in my
Yeah.
case, it's like a really like magical thing. I do have one question though, because
Yes.
obviously we talk about this game, and what makes it universally loved as a masterpiece. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I keep thinking like what makes it, because for years and decades, and it still is, it always comes up, if not the top spot, the top 5 games of all time, like
It
of
is
all
like it.
time,
Yeah.
every time.
It's always. Yeah. I think maybe Breath of the Wild might have knocked it off its perch.
Sure,
But
sure,
it
yeah, no, no,
is
like
definitely hailed as one of it, and it's always people's favorites, or a lot of the time it's my favorite game of all time.
yeah, nice.
I wonder what it is. Like, there's so much to it. The music, obviously, the music is such a huge
What
thing.
is your favorite song actually?
Um, I'm trying to think.
So there's
Fuck.
Song of Storms, there's Zelda's Lullaby, there's a lot of some of the later temple stuff as an adult has some really cool jams in it, like because you get a song for each of the later temples, right?
Yeah, you do. I think
Learn
there's
from
the
Cheek.
one that's. I think does it bring you to the Temple of Light? It goes do 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 do
Yeah, yeah,
do,
yeah, 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 yeah.
and
I
then
know
it's
that one.
and then you're boom, then you're zipped away.
I love it. I love
Yeah.
it.
What
I love
about
it.
yours?
I think the fairy fountain music, even though or like definitely fucking Zelda's Lullaby, just be like,
Yeah.
oh, like that's
Yeah.
kind of like the nice kind of, that's the one that hits you in the feels,
It's
because
yeah. What
the
does it
game.
doesn't Mary has a tattoo on one of the songs, doesn't she?
She
Mary
does.
Majora.
She has like the N64 like C stick buttons.
Yeah,
I'm
that
trying
looks
to
so
think what one
cool.
it is. I don't know if it's Song of Storms or not. What is it? Do you have any? You
That's
have
what I'm
Zelda
thinking.
tattoos? Do you?
I have a Triforce, but
Where's it?
that's about it.
Where's the Triforce located? Is it on your wrist or something?
Yeah, can you see?
I can't because the camera's frozen.
Oh, is it? Ah, fuck. Yeah, it's on my wrist. It's very
You actually
subtle.
look like you're very angry at me now.
Oh
Just to let
shit.
the listeners know. Oh, there he is. He's back. He's back. He was stuck
Yeah,
in a frame there, looking
yeah.
like, "What are you talking about?" Oh, he's frozen again. Oh,
Oh
there he goes. I
fuck.
see it. Okay, nice, nice, nice. Um,
But yeah, the
yeah.
music, and then isn't there like there's songs that don't actually, the way you have the list of songs. Is it the
Mhm.
Scarecrow? Is there a song for the Scarecrow
You
that's
just
not?
make up a song. Like, so
Oh, is that
you
what
you
it
make
is?
up a song. I think you make up a song with him when you're young, and then you come back and you play it in certain places of the game, and it will like give you like a slight secret area, like a box will disappear,
Ah,
and you'll get like rupees in a chest or something.
nice. Yeah,
Um, and like I think as well, like what keeps the game alive as well is like there's obviously it's I think there's the emotional connection with the music, the story, obviously that, but I think like all of it's done so well. Like I think the ambience of it, I think it's like reading, it's like The Princess's Bride or something. I don't know.
yeah,
It's such like a fucking story that is, particularly when you're a kid, it's like it's a hero's tale. Do you know what I mean?
yeah.
It's something like your
Totally.
granddad would be reading to you or something. Do you know what I mean?
And it was also like, wasn't it like the first big 3D adventure game, or one of the first big 3D adventure games.
It
So
is. It
that's going to
is. It
make it
is.
iconic in itself, and maybe that's why it
100%.
had such a huge impact, because it's such a fucking impactful game. Like,
And I
you,
think, sorry, I think Ocarina of Time did for that what Breath of the Wild did for that. You know, such a reinvention of the formula at the time.
yeah, it's just like I love it, and I know some people don't enjoy the fact that everyone loves it, but I love it so much. I'm looking at the box here in front of me, and even looking at the logo is just so cool.
Mm.
We didn't get a gold card. I don't think we got a gold card here. I only have a grey card.
Yeah,
I'm
because I
thinking
definitely
about
had the major. Because I
the
have the Majora's
Majora's one.
Mask gold
Yeah,
card. Yeah, I
yeah,
think most people got that. Did they? Was that like the
yeah.
only card you could get
No,
for
no,
that
no.
game?
Yeah, I think I have a grey one as well, and I had like has a little hologram, so that the
Yeah,
logo or the sticker on the front of the card is a little
my
hologram.
one didn't. My one's gold, and it just has the Majora's Mask logo on it. I feel like was the hologram one an American one?
I don't know. I'm fairly sure. I think I have, because I think my childhood card. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I remember this wrong. I thought it was a hologram, but I
Do you
definitely
have?
have. I
Do
definitely
you
have a
have it?
gold one. Yeah, I have. I got one. I did get a box variant. So there's a couple of different variants of the box. Obviously, even different PAL ones. So my one is just like, it's kind of green, and there's loads of like subtle artwork in the background. I can't remember. I can't remember if I still have the hologram one. I'll have to check it out. But what a great game! Like,
Yeah, no, for sure. Like, I think it's one of those things that's like, I think for anyone who's played it growing up, I think it's
just
it's one of those things that like by thinking about it, it's warming the cockles of your heart in that way.
yeah,
Like I think it
that's what
hits
it
all
is.
the right. It's almost like a Christmassy feeling.
Yeah, yeah.
You know
But
what I
even when
mean?
you turn it on, and you can hear a pony galloping. You can just hear the gallop,
Yeah.
and you're like,
Such and the
"Fuck."
moon and like
Yeah,
Link
yeah,
riding over it, and
yeah.
it's
The
like and the
music, and
title card comes up and it's like, oh fuck
yeah,
yeah,
like
man.
that hits me every time. Even pressing start, and it makes that noise. Like, you're like, fucking hell. Like, what? Just
Yeah. It's all eargasms.
oh, totally, totally. It's.
I
I
rem-
really like that about Zelda games, is that it's just so much music based stuff, isn't there?
Mhm.
Within Zelda games, like, it's
Yeah,
not.
like it's sure like I feel like yeah, because Twilight Princess has the wolf, the howling, which is a cool
Yeah,
mechanic.
yeah.
Wind Waker had the fucking wind baton that was
Mm.
going in it. Did Breath of the Wild? What the fuck did Breath of the Wild have?
I don't know. Actually, what did I have?
Did that have music in
I
it? It
don't
obviously
know.
had music in it, but did it have like I don't know if it
Did
had
Did
like a
you play an
mechanic for it.
instrument? I don't know. Cooking.
Oh, I mean, yeah, making what the garbledy goopy shit.
Yeah. I'm browsing through the manual here, just seeing if something's gonna jump out of me, and now I'm just like, I want to just go and play this game. Like, I am
Do it, man.
literally
Do
immediately
it.
after we're finished, I'm firing up Master Quest and
Do it. We
staying
better
up
wrap up
way
anyway
too
because I'd
late.
say I think we're like 15 minutes over.
Oh
So
shit, yeah, fuck.
yeah. So will we leave it there for today?
Yeah, I'm cool with that. I'm happy with that. What a fantastic game! Absolutely amazing. What is
Yeah, for
this?
sure.
Now, this is my favorite game of all time.
Okay.
What, I don't know. I don't know if this. What is yours, or is this out of the Zelda games? What's your
Uh-huh.
favorite Zelda game of all time?
Okay. I
Is
like it. We'll put that in for question. And as
yeah,
a poll, what's
yeah.
your favorite tunic color to wear?
Yes, yes, with the gold boots, baby.
Oh yeah, what's your favorite fashionista for Link to be wearing? But guys, thank you so much for listening to episode 3 of Press Any Button to Continue. We took a trip down memory lane with a Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. Nisha, thank you so much for chatting with me and
Thank you.
vibing with me. Where can people find you in all the good places? And we must let people know, we forgot to do this.
Right.
We have a Twitter, we have a TikTok, and we have an Instagram of Press
Oh,
Any
yeah.
Button to
Yeah,
Continue. What
yeah.
are the names? Press Any Button Pod?
Press Any Button Pod. Yeah, yeah.
On everything.
I'm fairly sure it's Press Any Button Pod on everything.
We're not really sure what we do ourselves. We just sit down and hope for the best.
Yeah. But press any Button Pod on Instagram. PabTC_pod, I think, on Twitter.
We made that very easy. I will link it in the show notes that we can like find it that way. I'm sure that would be easier.
Yeah.
But where can people find you if they want to find your own personal diddly fiddlies?
I'm on Instagram, is kind of my main thing, at retro_gamer_Ireland. And that's kind of my joy. What about you?
You can find me on the Twitch, steamy_streamers, or that name kind of on Instagram or TikTok and all those good things as well. So pop on by, say hi. We might be playing a game you like. And thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you. Episode 3. Give a round of applause, baby. Who would have thought we did 3 episodes?
Yes.
We will see you all next time for episode 4. What's it gonna be? Not even we know. That's how prepared we are. See you all next time, guys. Thank you. Bye.